Hello, I am Miquel, a maintainer of OpenUpgrade, and we will begin this workshop because they assigned it to me, to my small talk, 90 minutes. So after this small talk, if you want to do some exercise, we will spend the time learning how to do simple migrations with OpenUpgrade. This title has an error because what is easy, it's not OpenUpgrade. OpenUpgrade is a bit complex. Before they have said that you have to do some scripts and some things, but what is easy more than you think is that migrating with OpenUpgrade. That's the difference. Is use this tool. Thank you. Is use this tool to migrate, and you don't know how it works, in fact, but it's easy to make use of it. And I will explain you how to do it. First, when doing migrations, you have to do a preliminary work. This preliminary work is listing your add-ons, your branches, everything, and building your environment to migrate. This is it takes the most time doing this. Once you have this, then later you can do the migrations, and it's relatively easy to make use of OpenUpgrade. First, you need tools. For example, environmental tools, then aggregating tools, and other tools. For example, fish, that many people don't know about it, but it helps when your migration takes a lot of time and you have to do other things. Then with this tool, this migration is executed in the server in another window, and you can close your computer, and then you save that the work is done in online. And these tools are the main I use, and a bit summary. Git aggregator from Axon makes listings of the add-ons and the repositories, the branches, and then it makes you aggregate all this information in one folder. Our company, ForgeFlow, have developed Odoo filter add-ons that makes this process more easy, that all the add-ons get in one just folder. But just listing two files, the repos YAML and the add-ons YAML with 2 files, and with this tool, Odoo filter add-ons, all the add-ons get taken from online, and it gets downloaded in one folder. And then .bat from Tecnativa, it's a more complex tool that have a lot of configuration, but it's for when you are an expert in migrating, it's a very nice tool to do things and manage many parameters and possibilities. For building your environment, you have to take into consideration the ports, the host, user server, parameters, everything. You need to make sure everything is as expected. When you build the repos YAML, it's important to freeze the branches, just putting the commit and not a version, because it may happen that some time passes and new commits are aggregated to the branch, and then some surprises you may get. So it's better always to freeze them. Another recommendation is in add-on YAML to list all the models you will use and not list a common asterisk, because if not, if the repos has a lot of add-ons that you don't use, then you have a lot of information that it generates noisy. And then you need to check the package requirements. Finally, in this part, I will explain from my experience how I do the migrations with OpenUpgrade. I have made a summary about how to do it and easy to understand. I structured this process into several phases and steps. They are very easy to understand, don't worry. And then several tips and tricks that make the process more easy, because when you are migrating but you don't have all the models in the version you want to migrate, for example, it's a problem and you need to solve it. You want to make maybe a migration, you don't have all the models yet, but you want to test it and access to a migrated database and check, well, this is what I have, this part works, and then when you have this, then you can invest more time in migrating the models that you don't have yet. Another problem you may have is that there are some views that are linked to others because they are inherited, and maybe you have to disable them. And I will explain how to do it. And you need to consider these things, these tricks, in order to easy your process in migrating. First of all, you need to consider that migrating is iterative. It's a process where you have to do several things, and then probably you will have to do it again, because some errors will happen, and you will do reset the migration and start again. So when you are in this iterative process, you generate a lot of files, for example, logs and backups, and this has a lot of space, and then you need to delete them from time to time. That's why I put into parentheses. It's not necessary, but it's something that you need to consider. Another thing is that, well, you can restore your database, your file store from Odoo directly, but when you are in this iterative process, you will not do it this way. You will need some command in your command line in your program. You will need to execute some code in order to automatize this part. In the migration phase, normally you need to consider some things to do before and after the migration. So this is why I consider a migration phase, pre-migration phase, sorry. And for example, here we can do our model renames, for example, for custom models that are not in OCA or and are only in your custom environment. So if the model have changed the name, you will put here in your local environment in this pre-migration file. You will put make use of this method to rename the model or merge them in another one. You have to delete the catch-all, for example. These are tricks that you learn when you do a lot of migrations. Then, after the pre-migration, you do the demigration. This is executing OpenUpgrade. Maybe you may want to use Odoo Enterprise, but then after the migration with OpenUpgrade, you have to do the post-migration tricks that I have said before. For example, you want to delete these tangling views that may cause some errors. This is a script that works fine, not until version 15. In version 16, it's not this way because they have implemented the JSON information for translations, and this has to be adapted. And then you have the in a way disable the problem that you will have is you have important models, and if you put them as installed, then you solve this part, and you will be able to have a database migrated database, but although you don't have all the models imported, migrated. And then you can deactivate some features like cron jobs, fetch mal, and like this. No? Normally these things are executed and you don't want to affect your migration, and you in the final update all step. And then this cleaning part, it's I separated from post-migration, but normally in the post-migration you are executing these queries and you have the cursor. But then the clean migration is when you have the environment and you want it to do something inside from Odoo. For example, uninstalling models, it's better to do it this way than not from query and just putting uninstall it. It's better to just using the function, the method from Odoo. And for example, for consume new chores that they have added. And then the final phase, you have always to do a backup and a copy, and it's better to rename this copy this way. If there is something wrong in this final phase, you have saved the migrated database. In this final phase, you have to do a last update of this database with Odoo, without any parameters, just an update all, and in a way to clean all the things that the migration with OpenUpgrade didn't delete. and then install maybe some new modules that you will need, and then a final phase. I put in the parentheses, but it's important. You have to check later functional testing. You have to compare data, check the flows, and review that everything is fine and nothing is left. And that's all from the Tal Park. Tal Park. And then this is the workshop. I don't know if you are interested, but I expect and I desire you participate. In this workshop part, I thought to do a simple exercise. There are three levels. There is a custom database that I did. It's simple, have the ADI OCA module installed with all its dependencies and a custom model. Then you can decide to just migrate this database to version 16 with just Odoo modules, the basic migration. But you will remember you have to, in a way, deactivate all the missing modules. The second level should be migrate everything except the custom model by learning how to aggregate and add all the branches you need to migrate all the other models. And then last exercise, it's the more difficult one, it's to migrate everything with the custom model. This implies to add some migration scripts in the custom model because there have been some changes from in this model. And that's all, okay? If I will show you this simple model that I did. It's just a basic one. Oh, sorry. You can check in this here. This is what is installed in this part, in this first comment. It's very simple. It creates a new model called ADI backend group, and that just contains a name and a many to one field in the ADI backend that links to this new model. And I can show you here. This is all the models from ADI OCA, and what this custom model is adding is this new model here. There is one record, and then there are two backends. This one it's not linked to this new model, but this one, yes, it's linked here. So in this version 16, there has been a refactor, and what we have done is that this model has been renamed to another one that is called ADI Exchange Type Group. Instead of linked to the ADI backend, is linked to ADI Exchange Type. But that's the only change. And later, after, if I can show you how I did the scripts and the solution of this exercise, but but not now. Maybe later when we finish the workshop, and that's all. I am here, and if you want to participate, I can help you how to do it, and if you want to learn and you have to doubt how to do it, and that's all.
Sorry, the file behind the TinyURL is protected. It's in your Google Drive.
Yeah, the password is Odoo.
Okay, that's the first challenge, yeah? So you need to guess the password.
Yeah. No, master password, yes, it's Odoo.
Yeah, there is no room for password. It just says you need access, and we have to send you an email to give you access. Google Drive does that.
Oh.
Yes, you have to share a file.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. It's here.
Probably have received lots of requests.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it. Here. Yes. Sorry.
Tothom que digui l'enllaç.
Yes.
Pregunta. O sigui, posa els enllaços. Com baixar-se el codi
Yeah.
d'OpenUpgrade. Com baixar-se... Els has d'instruir una mica, si no es perdran. La llibreria de...
Ya, bueno, por eso estoy aquí, ¿no?
Sí, però...
Es interesante que hagas una migración completa explicando los pasos porque ahora mismo la gente...
Ya, sí, es que yo no me esperaba.
La tienes muy lejos.
Es que yo pensaba que sería una sala donde sería más fácil que toda la gente con la portátil.
Pero haz tú y preparo esto, preparo la danza.
Vés explicant, perquè si no els guies estàs molt lluny. Encara estan molt lluny. S'han de posar...
I will show you the example how to do it. First, you have to download this database. For example, you can go to the pull request here, and you download. I have here, and then sorry, one moment.
One question, how many of you know about PyCharm? Yeah? How many of you know about? How many of you have Odoo installed in your laptop? Yes? Okay. So we assume you are familiar on how to run Odoo in your computer.
Yeah.
Llavors, ara explica-li la launchpad, no? El que hem de canviar de la launchpad,
Yeah.
no? I carregar la base de dades. El primer,
Yeah.
que aixequin l'Odoo i carreguin les dades. I a quina versió?
Yeah.
S'han de baixar el codi.
If you run this
En quina versió han necessitat?
sorry, one moment. One moment. Well, no problem. Is you go here, manage databases in version 14. There is a restore database part when you can put here Odoo. Then here you can put the file of the database, and then you put a name for this database, and then click on continue, and Odoo will do the work to import this database. I will wait a bit just to everyone. If you want, you can download this database. Next, once you have imported your database, you don't need version 14 anymore because you want to migrate to a new version. So you begin with version 15. Yeah, in fact, you don't need version 14 to import this database. You can do it in another version. Odoo will not be a problem for this.
You just need PostgreSQL.
Yeah, yeah, the
to
yes,
store the database.
exactly. You don't need Postgres. You can do the restore by command if you prefer, and then I will show you an easy way. You go here. This is, I have everything prepared just to do it fast. For example, as explained before, I do the pre-migration part. I did some changes, sorry, before. Sorry. Then you do the migration part. This will take a bit. It's very magic when you see this part and you only have to read and do nothing. You can see there are some migration scripts that are executed. It's finishing. And then you do the post part. Okay, so now I want the 16 version. So I go to the 16 version. I will do the same. Yeah, first for each module, starting from base, Odoo is executing a pre-migration script for that module. Then it loads the module with all the views and all the data, and then a post-migration script is executed. That for each module and in the order of the dependencies. The three dependencies, the tree of dependencies. It first base, after web, and later all the other models. You can see here in the last one, I can find here the custom model. There are some migration scripts here. I will explain them. First, this minute1 field, it's problematic because it will point to another model, so I call the leaf constraints method from OpenUpgrade lib. Then I assured not links, there are no links to this table from this model. And then I execute the model rename from ADI backend group to ADI exchange type group, the table rename, and then some XMLI renames that are for the security access. Then there is the post-migration script that you need to do a query. There is no and this query, what it does is you have an ADI exchange type that have an ADI backend that has this backend group, then you can link this ADI exchange type with this backend group that now is an exchange type group. And later you have to load and update data because this access, your model access records have changed their name. And now the migration has finished. You see its version, it's faster than the previous one. And this is another thing, but we, the migrators, are benefited from this. This is the post part. And then, if I go now, the 16 version with OpenUpgrade, and then I need to run first an update. You see here, we need to put update all and stop after init. This will make sure this database is synchronized with Odoo models and nothing is left dangling. And now we can enter in this new migrated database. If we want to check if everything is as expected, we can see here the new model have appeared here. It maintains the previous record. Now the name hasn't changed, of course. But now, if you go to these two exchanges, this one was linked to the first backend that didn't have the backend group. But the second one was linked to the second backend, and now we see it's linked to the new exchange type group that maintains the previous name backend group. So everything seems fine, and we can say, hey, it's correct, it's fine, and that's all. You see, we have in 5 minutes we have migrated this database. And the migration skips, if you are knowing what you are doing and you are experienced, in 5 minutes can be done perfectly. I did yesterday at night. So.
Could you let me, Miquel, to review everything?
You can do it,
No,
yes.
I want you to assist me.
Feel free.
You don't mind?
There is a question there.
It's actually not really a question. It's pretty much almost just a summary of just what you've just done.
Yeah.
From what I've been following, it's as though you're running the OpenUpgrade lib or repo or version of Odoo. You import the database,
Yes.
run it,
Yeah.
then of course put it then in the okay, there was 15 OU, which is OpenUpgrade, then 15, then 16 OU, then 16.
Yeah.
That was the process.
Yes.
That
In a
was
nutshell.
what I want to review for
Yeah.
And it's important to have that exactly.
This part, Odoo migration, the migration phase, it's what you are doing for each version.
Yes.
If you want to migrate 5 versions consecutively, you have to do it for each one. And then you can go to the final phase that it's doing the update with the last version of Odoo to clean everything. If you want to migrate several versions at the same time.
I have a question. So as we are talking about pre-migration, I've noticed
This depends on each person. ForgeFlow has a strategy for that, Tecnativa another. What I personally do is to run the migrated databases for a time, maybe a month, 2, and when users don't report any migration issue, then I go with the cleanup. And this module provided you install on your database, go to the different menus, you have a pure obsolete model, pure obsolete table, pure obsolete columns, and go through each of the menus and click on them and remove all this stuff that is not needed. You can make a backup of the database and keep it safe in any case, but it's not needed. It's true that keeping this old stuff may impact a bit on performance. Why? Because you may have some columns, foreign key constraints, and so on, that acts each time you remove, for example, a record, or so on. So don't keep this old stuff for years. But it's safe, but it may impact a bit on performance. Okay, but we do it this way because it's usual that you migrate, you don't detect a problem, and then your user using the new version detect this. They pass you an issue, and it's more difficult to go to the other database, to the old one, dump the data and put it on the new one. You have the old data, then you run an SQL query, and you fix it, and going away. Okay?
So it just remains until basically it's separate from the
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a total separated process. You can chain it. It's not recommended by these possible cases, but you can do it. And you have a very powerful tool through an OCA module, which does this.
So my question is more related about the tools that you displayed at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because as you point on the presentation, I wasn't aware about the fish tool, and I didn't get exactly how it helps on the migration process.
Well,
I don't know if it's able to,
the fish tool enables you to run something. You need to for example, I don't have an example. You need to run several scripts or several commands. Then you create a fish file, and with fish you can call this file, and all this process that I needed to do. For example, clicking in the pre-migration, then clicking the migration, then clicking the post-migration. This can be executed automatically just with executing one command. It's an automatic.
No, fish helps you. It's a command line utilities to, for example, execute a process in background. Sorry.
Yeah.
So fish is a small utility to facilitate the command line. So you can run, for example, a task in the background. You can do with Linux command as well. It's just a bit more convenient. So no mysteries there. So it's adds some facilities, but you can do it with Linux, normal Linux, and that's it. Right? So then I think you should be aware that. So you need to find ways to clean your data before starting a migration. Because you know how a database works. So probably you need to run some scripts you can build, because you know that some data needs to be cleaned up before starting the migration. Otherwise, there might be errors. That's all you need to know. And there are tips and tricks, and Miquel has provided a few examples. But essentially, in my opinion, the OpenUpgrade should be containing all the logic so that you have minimum alterations before and after. Right? And for the most part, this is the case.
For example, if I go here, I can show how this Odoo filter add-ons works. I can remove, for example, all these models. And then if I go, I have to make sure I have the add-ons file, and I have the repos file with the information I need. For example, the repos, the branches, and then I go here. I go. And then it will automatically load all the models from these branches to the folder. They will be generated. And it's a very easy tool that helps to manage a lot of different folders with a lot of modules. You will have everything contained in one folder, and I think it's pretty easy to manage.
So So if you intend to run project from version 12 to version 14, for example, OpenUpgrade is very stable, and you can use only the code, the main code from OpenUpgrade in GitHub. And probably you don't need this tool, okay? You know that when you run projects, in your projects you have several repositories to fetch code from. So you can go to your add-ons path and list them. That's fine. The problem is when your project depends on open pull requests from GitHub. That's where complexity comes. And this is where the Git aggregator and Odoo filter add-ons are two examples of projects where you can list all the pull requests that you want to include in your code automatically, even when the same repository contains multiple pull requests. And why do you need that in OpenUpgrade that is so important? It's important if you try to migrate in versions that are quite recent, because the OpenUpgrade project is complex, and throughout the year, for example, several people are publishing open pull requests. So if you want to run your migration project, probably you need to rely not only on the base branch, let's say OpenUpgrade 17, but also on a number 2, 3, 4 open pull requests. So if you don't include them, you will not see the fixes, etc. included. So part of, but this is only happening when you are in the bleeding edge, when we are trying to migrate from 16 to 17, for example, now, because there are many open pull requests, okay? So that tool is very important. Otherwise, it's very important in general in your Odoo projects to have Git aggregate and Odoo filter add-ons, or either of them, because it makes things easier, because your project always also will contain probably open pull requests, and you want to merge them in your project as part of your development workflow. Go ahead.
Maybe that's more a strategic question that is following up exactly that point. So if we all agree, and I think we do all agree, that OpenUpgrade is the tool to be followed to migrate Now, you pointed out the problem with the most recent version, and I think, and I don't have an answer to that, but the problem with the open pull requests is primarily because the recent upgrades happen in a decentralized way, right? A lot of technical experienced partners like you do it, put pull requests here and there, and get it on the way. And I'm a bit curious to know your take, how we could improve that the whole experience, upgrading it to a more recent version, is a more consistent and more coherent right after a release. I don't know whether you got the point, but if different partners start out with the process and do pull requests here and there, then it might be that the coordination is like the knowledge about including that pull request in this one is not necessarily shared among everybody that's working on it at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody has to figure out again if he wants to migrate to a very recent version, and I think that's mostly when OpenUpgrade is important, so that you can do a very recent upgrade. How can we fix that problem? So the problem of recency in shared environments.
I think that it leads me to answer first is, when you are starting with OpenUpgrade, don't suicide yourself, please. So don't go to migration to version 17 just because it's snappy or it's Odoo experience has just finished, because you will crash. Right? It's a complex project. So what you have to do is take your dusty old version 12 database from this customer and then migrate it to version 13 or 14. Right? Okay, 16. Okay. Now, you need to build confidence in the process. So don't go to the bleeding edge. Okay? Now, when you are brave enough, you're strong, you have built your muscles, then you can go for the bleeding edge. And that's where you feel like you're strong enough, so you take one of your strong developers and put him to look into the OpenUpgrade repositories and explore the open pull requests. So that's where you start to get involved in the project. And so you know what's going on, who's proposing what, right? And that's where you pick and select what pull request do you want for your project, because now you are a more advanced contributor and you are more brave to try new things and explore. And that is, I mean, it's the normal life, day in life of people working in Odoo to work with open pull requests. That's the reality. If you don't want to live in the bleeding edge, then go for older versions and feel more confident.
That's not the right point to put it, but at the end of the day, the customer would like to have a very recent version of its database, right? And if the opportunity is, I mean, just to the open discussion, but if half of the population of potential users of OpenUpgrade also already swallowed the bitter pill of buying licenses and go the enterprise way with all the disadvantages that by the time that we are that OpenUpgrade is like mature enough for that version to be migrated, then we lost already probably the potential adoption.
But Frederick, let me talk especially about a strategy. You need the latest version if in your company strategy you only go for from version 11 to version 16. For example, if you have already gone across version 11, version 12, version 13, and you install to new customers that version, you already start to know about the version without needing to migrate to that version. The rush to migrate modules, to migrate databases is because your strategy is already some kind of frustrated because you are only working on that 2 versions. So you have a very old one or the newest one. Don't go that way. Pass through each version, and you won't be on a rush to migrate to version 17. That's my case. I have already customers in version 17 because they have started this year, and we have enough OCA modules to attend their needs. But I'm now migrating some customers to version 16, and I will start to migrate to databases to version 17 in some point half of the next year. But I'm not on a rush. Why? Because I don't base my strategy on that. And there is another factor, which is to decouple the Odoo implementation from the Odoo migration. If you pack all of this in the same service, you don't have to put the customer at the decision to put one version or another. No, you start in this version. It doesn't matter. Passing some time, you will be on the next version. So for you, it's not a decision factor that if you start with one version, there will be a problem or there will be a budget problem going to another version. So that's my point of view on the strategy. Anyway, Enrique on the previous talk has already nailed it also about how to avoid this, which is to have reviewers. Having reviewers, proper reviewers, there won't be such a pile of pull requests because they will be merged quicker. So that's also a way. And of course, as said, in a dream, OpenUpgrade version 18 should be in December of this year, but it's not possible. Why? Because if we want to do it correctly, we need to put some time. So it's better to decouple the rush of migrating, taking another company strategy, in my opinion. Okay, but let's try anyway. And OCA is on that mood to provide budget to do this in a quicker way. Why right now we don't have OpenUpgrade version 17? Because the volunteer companies that work usually with it, we don't have an special interest or rush to do it already. So that's why I haven't started reviewing any version 17 pull requests. Okay?
Quick question. You did mention about writing tests in the version.
Yeah.
Which part of the script do you write that? Like, I mean, is there any documentation about it?
Yeah, Sylvain Legal on the documentation branch. But there is a link on the project.
There's the website for the documentation.
Without. On the README, go to the README, and there is a link to the documentation. For documentation, see here. No. Did you find it?
Here, yeah.
That's it. Here you have how to develop migration scripts and also this part. On the lower, migration script development. Of course, it can be improved, and everyone is welcome to contribute to expand this documentation, but at least there is a rationale about each of the changes you can find on the analysis files and how to proceed.
By the way, you didn't mention end migration.
Yeah, there is a part that it's called the migration. that comes in Odoo. You have for each module the pre-migration script, the post-migration script, but you can develop another one that's called the migration. You need to put in the same folder, and this is run after the migration of the database is done. Then before Odoo stops, it runs all the migrations of all the modules in the same order from.
So that would be the point when I'm really bold about throwing away the invoice database. I could do it there, right? To install the module that you just explained, and then run the functions to clean up the database. I would do it in this end section of the migration, or keep it separated.
I think it has to be separated, because when you are running the migrations, you are still in the migration process with OpenUpgrade. Yeah. You are not deleting data in the process in that moment. If you are deleting data, you may have some, you can make some kind of error, or
yeah, sure. I mean, from a strategy
from the same strategy and the clean possibilities, it's better to be safe. Okay. Finish.